Some of you might have already seen the headlines on social media, but just in case you haven't, Clifton Powell says this one thing was his biggest mistake. This gentleman right here is named Clifton Powell. Now, Clifton Powell, I would say, is a legendary B-list actor, if you will. Now, he's been in several movies and TV shows starting since his acting debut in 1981. And his most notable, I would say, or most memorable role that I can think of is when he did Pinky in Next Friday. Now, again, before then and after then, he's been on several movies and TV shows, and he even voice acted in Grand Theft Auto. All right. He's had a lot of roles on his belt. He's made a lot of money over the years, and he's a pretty grounded actor, if you ask me. Now, he was on The Art of Dialogue, and he went on to talk about his divorce because apparently, which I didn't know this, Clifton Powell said his divorce cost him $10 million. Now, I don't know how long he was married, but he got divorced in 2009. So I would assume he was married long enough to owe his wife some money. And he also has 2 children by this woman. Now, he's going to go on to talk about some of the pitfalls of his marriage and the context to his statement that marriage was his biggest mistake. All right. So just listen in. He has some good context here, and there's some things you can take away from this that a lot of content creators have talked about as far as marriage and, fame and chasing your purpose as a man. Okay, so let's listen into what Clifton Powell has to say. Of course, this is on YouTube, so I got to give my fair use clause. For all of you, stop playing the video ninjas. For all of you, you talk too much ninjas.
Say another motherfucking word, and this shit is over. And I ain't playing, nigga.
A link will be in the description box so you can watch this without my commentary or interruption. If you're still here, thank you very much for your viewership and fair use.
Man, you lost 10 million in your divorce, bro?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I did a seminar yesterday, a group for one of my dear friends. Her name is Tressa, out of DC. She's a producer. So we were talking to the producing groups and the writers and trying to give them the ins and outs of the business. And one of the things that I try to do is when I do lectures, I have one slated hopefully to do at Norfolk State, and I want to take it around to the HBCUs, Evening with Clifton Powell. And what I want to talk about is all the things that nobody helped me understand when I started in the business. So one of the panelists asked me, what's the biggest mistake I made? I think the biggest mistake I made in the beginning was getting married. Not so much because marriage is bad, but trying to build my career inside of my marriage.
Now, you heard what he said, right? He said that marriage was his biggest mistake. And now people are going to come in and they're going to say, oh, well, you talking bad about marriage. What was wrong with his wife? He married her and there's nothing wrong with no marriage and blah, blah. He's not talking down. He just gave respect to his marriage and to his wife. He said trying to build a career inside of marriage was his mistake. Not necessarily getting married, but he got married and then his career took off. He was still trying to grind while he was married. Okay. Now, a lot of content creators will talk about, being on your purpose and, getting your life together before you choose to get married. People like CGA say, you know what? Build your life first, get your wealth up, get your status and things like that up and get it to where you want to be in life and then consider marriage. If you still want it, then you could negotiate, or rather you can go into that situation from a position of strength and not weakness, being broke. Okay. Because now you're already where you want to be and you can make the decision where you want to do it and all the risks that are associated with it. You can do things like get prenups, and you can, do things with your money and your wealth and your finances and your businesses and all those kind of things.
What do you mean by that?
Clifton Powell saying, you know what? I was trying to get there while I was married. All right. And him being young when he started out in the acting career, that was something that maybe he wasn't able to navigate properly being young. Now, at his age, he got married. Now he's already set and he's already in his career. Getting married now is different than getting married back when he was still he was on the come up. Like a lot of us, a lot of them, not us, but a lot of young gentlemen. Okay.
It's simply impossible. The divorce rate in Hollywood is almost 97%.
97% divorce rate in Hollywood. Okay? That's even worse than us normies at like what, 70, 80%? The divorce rate in Hollywood is almost certain at 90%. I mean, 90, 97%, you're assured it is a guarantee you're going to get divorced if you're in Hollywood for many reasons. I mean, money, finances, women, outside women or men, infidelity, all those kind of things. Or you go broke like in the NBA, you're on high, then you retire, and then, stuff like that. It's all kind of variables at that level. You're almost guaranteed to get divorced.
Entertainers. So, and not that I wouldn't have married my ex-wife or not have my kids. The best thing that came out of that were my kids. But I just, being an entertainer, and I'll give you an example. In 1979, myself, Denzel Washington, Sam Jackson, Angela Bassett, we were all poor actors who were just entering into a very difficult business. And nobody ever told me and taught me anything about Hollywood or how to be an entertainer or be in the entertainment business. It's a little different when you're in New York and you don't necessarily make it to the big national level. But when you leave New York, like we all did, only left New York, not necessarily come out to Hollywood to be famous actors. We were in love with the work, but you don't make a lot of money. So when you come out to Hollywood, the next thing you know, you do rock. And then from rock, you do Minister Society. And then from Minister, you do Dead Presidents. And then I went on a 35-year run, where I did Rush Hour, Next Friday, Phantoms, Deep Rising, and all the movies that people have Ray, and all the movies that people have seen me in. And inside of that has its own, the trajectory.
Now, to kind of simplify what he's saying, they were just starting out. They were broke. They go from New York to California to Hollywood. His career takes off. Now he's married now. He got to put in all this work. He's on the road. He's on the set. He's hardly ever home. That comes with the separation between you and your wife. Those kind of things come with its own set of problems that are almost inevitable in this line of work. Or if you're somebody like a contractor, or you're an over the road truck driver, you're away from home many days out of the week, out of the month. That separation comes with a whole new set of problems because guess what? You're a man. You're still going to want things, just like your woman's still going to want things. This separation is guaranteed to create problems, inevitably, if not immediately. So he's going to get to that.
In the arts has its own isolated energy, and it takes all of your time and all of your energy. You barely have enough time for your wife and your kids. And I didn't understand that. And so when I was married at the height of my career, making a lot of money, I was out of my house maybe 80% of the time. And no marriage can survive if you're not giving it attention. And then there's all the other temptations on the road, the women, the gambling, the drinking, the partying. And before you know it, you're in divorce court. And that's
it. The separation, you being away from the family, being away from home, it comes with its own set of problems because guess what? Everybody still has needs. And yes, physical, emotional, mental, all that. Everybody still has to get what they want, right? Whether they're together or at home. Eventually, they're going to get it. Plus, the temptation. Now you got money out there now that, got women want you. Or if you're a woman, you got men out there want you, okay? Sexually and otherwise. It's, again, 97% divorce rate. It's inevitable.
Happened. I survived it, because money is amazing. But if you're not happy, money is not good. So I don't blame my ex-wife. I don't blame anyone. I just, with my journey, trying to help young entertainers understand, build your career first and then focus on marriage and children and things like that. And I had an outside life, and I'll tell, and again, I told the panel yesterday, I have a movie that I'm developing about relationships. And one of the things that I like to talk to women about, and men, is that men have a hormone, and of course I didn't understand this before.
Now, before he gets into this more biological part of his piece. He said, build your career up first and then get married. Okay? Again, like I said before, a lot of content creators, they stress this. If you're a young man, you're going to get married or you're going to get into a long-term relationship at the level that you are. You're eventually going to make money. You're going to survive the struggle of trying to make it on your own or make it through whatever profession you're in. Eventually, you're going to take off if you're not a freaking, a legion on society. If you're not a loser, you're eventually going to make it to where you're trying to go. And at that point, the person you're with then, you're going to outgrow them. You're going to fall out of love, or they might not be attractive no more. And I'm sorry, but it comes to the territory. A lot of women get upset about this, and men too, to a less degree. But it happens. Okay, the person you were then isn't the person you are now. The person you're with now is probably who you were at that time. And now you've leveled up everything else in your life, and you're looking back at your woman, and you want to level that up too. Let's just be honest, fellas. All right. And so if you're going to stay with her, you're going to be miserable, or you're going to leave her and you're going to break her heart. And you're going to do one or the other too. And to be honest with you, if you stay with her, you're going to be miserable, which is going to be on you. Right. So it's better to take the temporary heartbreak and the temporary stress of the situation than be on your own, do what you want, and be who you want, than be miserable and stay with somebody that you're not really, you don't really want to be with anymore. And that's what Clifton Powell chose to do. And he paid $10 million for it. Where is it? Where is it?
Married. Men have a hormone inside of their brain called dopamine. It controls the pleasure center it's in the pleasure center of your brain. And that's drugs, sex, gambling, smoking, partying, and rock and roll. And I did all of that. I didn't do drugs. That's the only reason I'm sitting here right now. But I partied, I gambled, I had a lot of women, and I was never home. And it's very difficult because women have a hormone in their brain called oxytocin, which is the cuddle hormone. So intimacy is personal for women. It's emotional. It's not personal for men unless you fall in love with someone. And I didn't understand any of that. So one of the things that I want to do with my lecture or the evening with Clifton Powell is break all that down for young entertainers, because back in my day, nobody guides you through. There are no mentors to call, because now we're all competition.
He's right,
So that's, how I take my spin on it.
Again, he gave respect to his wife. He gave respect to his marriage, or what it was before he got divorced. He even said it wasn't that she was a bad wife. I think if he hasn't said already, because my brain's a little frazzled right now, but he said I was a bad husband. He says, he puts it on himself. Like, look, I was going through, trying to get myself together, trying to, get up in my career. And so I made bad decisions along the way. And eventually I had to break this thing. We had to get divorced because I wasn't a good man, or I wasn't a good husband. Right. So for those out there, like I said, he gave respect to his marriage and to his ex-wife. And he also has 2 kids by this woman. He says, look, it was on me. We got divorced. Hopefully she's going to live a good life, and I'm doing what I got to do for myself, right? And I'm going to teach the youngins that's coming up through the ranks of the entertainment world, this is how you need to navigate your life if you want to be happy, and if you don't want to ruin anybody else's life along the way as far as a spouse. Just get yourself together, and then if you choose to get married, do it then, after you've established yourself, not before, because it's eventually going to go bad. Remember, 90%, right?
I got 2 beautiful children out of it, and I love my babies, and I wouldn't trade it, but I wouldn't do it the same way.
Wow. Let me ask you this. You'll be the perfect person to ask this. Do you think the financial side of divorce is fair for both parties?
That's really a great question.
Now, he's not going to have the standard, RP answer to this, fella. So, and to be honest with you, I think he has a fair answer to this. Now, do I think it's unfair? Yes. But then again, if you have the money to take care of it, then it's not as bad on you usually. Usually it's bad on the normies like myself. It's usually bad on us because we don't have the finances to fight the way we want. And so we end up getting the crap end of the stick. But again, do I think it's biased overall? Yes, absolutely.
That's a very difficult question, because I think the way the law is written, depending on what state you're married in, it's 50-50. and LA is 50-50. So when you go into marriage, you're basically entering into a business situation.
And again, everybody says it, right? We understand this by now, right? Marriage is a contract, with the state, all those other, descriptions that we use for it. Everybody understands it now. So that's not breaking news. All right. If you've made it this far in the video and you're still here, thank you again for your viewership. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you can be notified whenever I go live or drop new content. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, please do so by hitting the Cash App $ Mr. Normie. And you can also go to my Ko-Fi page, ko-fi.com/workingmanmg. Also, I'm trying to build a community on Locals. So if you would, go please check out my Locals page and you can join for just $5 a month. You can post and we can build a community of like-minded working men over there. Thank you for your time. Now back to the video.
And everybody has to uphold their part. So it's fair in the sense that if my ex-wife was the breadwinner, she would have had to give me alimony. If she kept the kids, then she has to give me alimony and not child support. If I get the kids, she has to pay me child support if she's the breadwinner. If I'm the breadwinner and I get the kids, then, I have to pay her alimony because I have the kids and there's no child support because they're with me. So it's fair. I mean, I know females, I have a couple of female friends who are paying child support and alimony. So I think you have to understand that marriage is on top of the love, it's a contract.
On top of the love is a contract. Now, again, like I said, if you've been watching my channel or others that are bigger than me, you already understand this, that it's not about love when you're in divorce court. It's about the money. It's about the assets. It's what they say is about business. All right. It's a contract at the end of the day. That's why everything gets split in divorce. So, yeah, we're not in the back in the day where there wasn't a contract. You just jumped a broom or, you went in front of a sheriff with a shotgun or anything like that. Now it's in court. There's paper signed. It's a law-abiding agreement. And if you mess with that, then somebody has to pay the piper.
If you don't uphold your end of the bargain, then you're going to get a problem. You're going to have a money problem if you don't have it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, in a sense, because a lot of people say that it's unfair to the men. So, I don't know.
Well, I gotta say this. I'm a little different. If you make a baby, you gotta take care of your baby for 21 years at least. So if you want to stop making babies, then put your condom on. That's as simple as that. My ex-wife didn't make me marry her. I come out of a traditional Christian kind of background, and I felt like that was the right thing to do. I didn't understand the business part of it, but I wasn't a good husband. I can sit here and tell you I wasn't a good husband. Men are not monogamous. Women will never want to believe that, not because we want to be, but because we have dopamine in our brain.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm 45 years old, right? I didn't come to this decision until late in life myself. So, but he's right. I don't believe this anymore myself either. Men, and you can say it's right or wrong or whatever, but I think monogamy, especially in 2025, it's a losing battle, especially for men. So, I mean, take that with what you will.
When you put entertainer on top of it, popular, famous, however you want to consider me, it comes with a lot of outside attention, especially from women. So I would sit here and say, I wasn't a great husband. If I could do it again, if and when I marry Marquita, I'm going to be focused. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be disciplined. And I've learned how to handle all the outside distractions. So if the woman is the breadwinner, she's going to end up paying. If the man is the breadwinner, he has to pay. It's the way it goes. There's nothing if you're the breadwinner, you can hide money if you want. But when you get inside of a divorce proceeding, you are under a guideline. So if you try to move money or hide money, you can get locked up for that. So if you get married tomorrow and your wife makes $300,000 and you make $1 million, then take $500,000 and give it to your mother or put it in an account that's you know, that the federal government can't touch. And then you go into your proceedings, but then you got to open your books when you go into your proceedings. But it's ways to get around that. I can't talk about this on the podcast. If you got a great friend, you can say, listen, bro, or you got a, you know, older son, you say, hey, hold this 5,000 or 500,000. But once you are.
And yeah, if you get divorced, you basically can't have money. There's a thing called discovery. Their lawyer is going to want to see all of the money you make from all avenues and vice versa. So at the time when the divorce proceedings start, there's no hiding money. Now, you can do this beforehand or before you get married, or even during the marriage. You can, you know, if you can finesse something, right? But make no mistake, they're going to have forensic accountants. They're going to go through all of your finances from the time you got married to the time you're getting divorced. And they're going to do their calculations no matter what state you're in. They're going to make their calculations. Hope you're not in California. And they're going to tabulate and say, okay, you owe this much child support, this much alimony. So, yeah, you definitely can't hide money once the war's already started, because then you're going to make a mistake.
Out of that divorce proceeding or injunction, so to speak, then if you start moving money around, you can get in trouble for that. Trust me, I thought about all of it.
And that's pretty much the end of the video right there. But you see it, guys, right? Clifton Powell paid $10 million to his ex-wife. He has 2 children. I'm sure they're grown now, so no child support there, right? But he found out the hard way that trying to build yourself up during a marriage is very difficult, if not impossible, with the statistics they have out nowadays about entertainers and the temptations and all the drama that's surrounding, you know, building yourself up or being at the top, you know, like a Denzel or somebody, and having all this attention and money around you. How hard it is to maintain a relationship or a marriage going through the ranks, and even more so when you're at the top. But it's better if you do it then with a clear head, and you don't have to worry about going through trying to get big, right? Pause. Rather than going through and trying to build yourself up and trying to hold a relationship at the same time, and the distance and all the other problems that come with it on your way to the top. Get what I'm saying? So y'all got it. Clifton Powell, $10 million divorce, and he's trying to tell the youngins how to do it better. I'm with it. And with that being said, thank you for taking another episode of the Working Man Podcast. I am your host, Nicholas J. Fury. Let me know what you think about Clifton Powell and his advice to the young men out there about getting yourself together as a man before you get married, right? Especially in the entertainment business with the statistic he laid out about Hollywood divorces. Let me know what you think about down in the comment section. And please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell. We're out of the door, and I will see you on the next video.